So we had a good couple of days in weather and work on the truck. We've been mainly, we had the gas engineer come round, a friend of mine, Ali. It's quite important to use a gas engineer for gas work on these kind of things, and not only a gas engineer as in somebody that's going to come and put probes in your boiler and service your Worcester boiler in the house, but a proper qualified engineer for working on caravans, burger vans, this kind of thing, and LPG. So I had him round, and there's a few things that we had to sort of work through. The tank itself is underneath. We had that fitted months ago. Atkinson Voss fitted that underneath when it was still a bare chassis, because I wanted it to have skid plates and things like that, so it couldn't have any damage at all to it when we're travelling. And then there was things like the governor, where it was going to get mounted, what pipework we wanted, and where it was going to be installed, and what was round it seemed to be quite important as well. So underneath here, in a safe sort of location out the way, is the filler point. So this is actually bolted right through the cross member of the chassis, and this has a pipe from here that runs into the gas tank that was fitted by Atkinson Voss in the chassis, as I just said. So with the kit, we've got 4 or 5 different connectors that screw in here, so wherever we are, hopefully, we can fill the gas up. The gas is only used, or we've only got gas installation here, for the hob itself, and that is purely just down to I prefer cooking on gas. That's all. I mean, we looked at diesel options, we looked at having a gas oven, a gas hob, electric because we've got so much solar and things, but I just prefer cooking on gas, so we decided we're just going to cook on gas. And we wanted a barbecue point outside for 2 things. One, for obviously a barbecue outside, and the other one is for a pot ring for, we want to do a lot of, like, try and find crabs and mussels and things like that, and it would be nice to have a pot ring to put a big pot outside to cook stuff outside that we're not boiling, A, for smell, and B, for condensation and things like that, or the moisture inside. So as you've just seen, where the governor's positioned on the outside of this locker, we had a lot of discussions about that yesterday, and inside the locker here, we were intending to fit it in here. Now, after quite a bit of discussion, with stuff getting thrown in and out here, there's a possible area for putting the boat or the boat outboard and quite heavy stuff, because we want to keep it below in the chassis. So it's going to be quite heavy stuff that I want to put in here, and I didn't want that governor getting knocked. And also the other thing is, as I learned, the governor breathes. It lets puffs of gas out every now and again. So we opted to put the governor in a safe place outside. That's 1, to protect it and protect the couplings, 2, to let it well ventilate. Now, I am aware that in very cold conditions, dropping down into the minuses, it's not the best place to have this outside, but that's the main reasons why we fitted it there. So what we did was we brought the pipes inside the locker from the governor. The governor sits here, the pipe comes up and comes through here. We're obviously going to install, once I get it, we're going to install an O-ring in here. So this comes through this yellow lever here. This is a solid piece of pipe that travels through here, goes up into the body, comes up here, and if you see it coming through the floor there, it travels from here all the way along and then goes through. You can see through the hatch there. It actually will go to the other side, but you can see the gas pipe. Now that actually comes through in one solid piece with no joints at all, from this coupling all the way to the service valve for the hob itself. Now the reasons for that are, and I wasn't aware of that either, I actually said I would like to have these valves here inside at the other side, so I could control everything from the utility locker, the water and heating and everything would be in that one locker. But the gas engineer said I couldn't do that because it's tightening up fittings, it's compression fittings inside. And it's illegal to do that because it's in the same area as the heating, the blower heating, and the same area as the air conditioning. Now, it doesn't matter if one or the other or both. If one of those couplings is to leak, because it's a tightening up coupling, especially with the nature of the off-road this vehicle is going to be doing, it could actually start to leak, and then the air conditioning unit would then spread gas around your habitation pod or the heating. Or worse, you're going to be firing oxygen around with your air conditioning with gas mixed in. So that is a definite no-no. So that's why we had to have the governor outside, we had to have the pipework outside, and we only have a one-piece solid pipe right through, which made it a bit trickier. But once it's all clipped on and that, we'll be quite happy and it'll be quite safe. And on the downside to that, as I say, we've got to look at the freeze and things. But there is a gas tank there. There is all the pipework from the gas tank. So I'm well aware if we get into -10 areas that it is going to freeze. I won't be going any places like that. I don't intend to go to cold areas. We don't like those kind of areas. It's not where we're going. This green valve here, we just talked about that one running all the way around to the hob. This green valve here just runs around here. It'll all be clipped on here. And then I'm going to purchase a external quick release barbecue point that's going to sit there, and that'll be obviously to click in here to have our barbecue sitting here, or come down to a pot ring so we can boil water and things like that in a big pot here. But I think that would be quite handy to have the external gas there, so that's another good reason why we wanted all the controls just right there in the locker underneath. So that's what we did there as far as the gas on this side is concerned. We'll pop round the other side, just let you see it going through, and we also did the diesel pipe. We'll let you see that. This is the utility side I was just talking about from the other side with the air conditioning unit. Here you can see the gas pipe coming along the back here. It still needs to be clipped, but that's it coming across and then going through the hole here that we bored, and there's a sleeve inside there. And once this is all clipped on and finished, it'll be completely solid. So that's the other piece of the pipe that comes right through, as I say, to the service valve on the other side. So the only other thing, even though it was a big job, I'll say the only other thing, we managed to run the diesel pipe, which is here. I got that from eBay. It was about £7 or something. So we fitted that onto the end of the Truma, and then on the same hole back here is the pump, the fuel pump, diesel pump wire. It went down the same hole, and what I did was I cable tied those two together. It's then gone up the back and it connects in with the rest of its connections down the back of the Truma unit. So it's in and finished. So what we did then was we dropped that back through, and then we went into the torsion-free subframe and we ran it right through the torsion-free subframe, cable tying it in 2 or 3 places. So the fuel pipe and the electrical connection from the Truma, as I said, ran right through the torsion-free subframe, and it pops out just behind the snorkel pipe. You can't actually see it. I thought you could, but just in the frame there. On the other side, I don't know if you can notice because of the yellow seat over there, that's the pump there on the other side, if I take my hand out of the way, for the Eberspacher that we fitted. And that's what I'm aiming for, the thicker rubber fuel hose that comes off and reduces down to the Eberspacher. I've now ordered a T. I think it was about £10 or something. It was a ridiculous price for a little brass hose, 6mm T. Anyway, it goes into that rubber hose, and then it's going to have basically a diesel fuel pump for the Eber and a diesel fuel pump for the Truma, pretty much side by side at the back here. I didn't want it under or close to the box, and I didn't want it underneath the cab. The only reasons for that are I've heard nightmares on the internet about these things ticking and clicking and making terrible noises and keeping people awake. I've never heard it myself, to be honest, but there's no point in taking that chance. I'm not going to mount it someplace silly when I can have it there. And not only that, when we want to, on the other side, we can just pump up the cab, lift it right up, and it's very, very easy to access. So if it ever traps air, or if ever something goes wrong with it, it's very easy to access. You're not crawling around under gutters, you're back in the engine bay and everything else. Okay, so we're fitting, the Maxxfan's been fitted on the roof, but the trim's below it, the shade with the LED light, because the only light that's going to be in the bathroom is from the Maxxfan light. So I've come in just now to get a hand from Layla, because you've got to put the shroud round, then you've got to put the clip panel round for the shade, and then you've got to put the shade on, but you've got to wire it all through in a winner, and then screw on two, then clip on one. So that's the wire coming from the control panel, which will be fused. I've linked it into the Maxxfan itself, and then it says to bore a hole in the corner of the shroud. I haven't done that, I've bored it at the back, because I don't want to see the wires sticking down inside here. So I've bored the holes already in here for the screws, so let's give it a go. It, and then a little light switch there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bare the wires over at the control panel, bring in a little 12-volt battery, and I'm just going to test the Maxxfan and the remote control that all works, and that the light comes on and everything's fine, and if not, then we'll have to sort that out. This is the other part of the kit that you get: a couple of screws, a wall mount, 2 batteries, and the remote control with readouts. But what we'll do is we'll go and get the 12-volt battery, see how that all works. So that's what you get in the kit. Okay, so this is a little 12-volt battery that I have in the house charging. I'm going to use this battery for testing. So all I've done is taken the little white terminal things off. It was new, and I've just looped these in. So it's not a permanent fixture, obviously. It probably won't even be a brilliant connection. So that should now, it's just fully charged, so that should now be powering the Maxxfan because it's 12 volt. First thing before we get into the remote control is, okay, that's quite a nice light in here actually, isn't it? It's not a pure white light at all, is it really? It's a,
can't really tell.
I don't know. Okay. Feels like a little capsule in here. Maybe teleported someplace. Okay, so I have never looked at the instructions in this in a manly fashion, so fan on. Okay, so as far as the control's concerned, it says air out. Fan will be got 20%. It's open. 14 degrees is what is in here just now. I take it that's what it's going to set at. So if it got hotter, it would then automatically open up. I suppose if you had auto, I'll have to read it. So if I click, there we go. It goes up in 10% increments there. So that's 50%. You can feel that pulling air out at 50%. 60. We'll go right up just to see what the noise is like in this little. Okay, so that's going to have its uses if you're using this as a drying room, or if it's for expel air, if you're boiling, if you're caught in inclement weather and you're boiling rice or something. That'd be a great thing, isn't it, using expel air, because the cooker's just right there. And the idea is the tambour door here shuts this off, and this will always be part of the room. But that's quite noisy, you know that's on, like an expel air. So put it back to 50%, and then this button here will be reversing it. So that goes to air in, it shuts down. There it is, and the fan started spinning the other way now. And you can really feel that hitting me in the face as it comes in. So I'll increase that. I'd imagine it'll be exactly the same. 10% increments, yep. And you can really, yeah, you can feel that blowing air in here a lot. Obviously an uncomfortable level standing here, but it's 100%, so it's good to be able to get to that if we ever need it. And then the other thing that I wanted to try was air in, and if I lower this to say to 20% for or even, I'll leave it at 20% just now, but if that was like a nighttime setting, yeah, and you still can feel a good amount of air coming through these holes there, so it's still open, it's still working. That would be off, but you can still feel air coming in here. Or for night time, because there'll be 4 people staying in this relatively small pod, I'll have this on the out, so this door open, well, this door shut off here, 20%, maybe 30%, we'll work on it, have it coming out. It's all about getting the moisture and breath and whatever else out of here, and I think that's great. I'm really happy with that, really happy. So that's the plumbing first fix done, which has taken quite a bit of time for the size of the box, to be honest. So as we said, in this bottom corner down here, I have the ball fix valve here, the tank's sitting full, so all you need to do on these type of valves is basically just a quarter turn, like that, and that is now live, so liven up the rest of the system. So you have a hot and a cold here, that will go to the wash hand basin. I've got a couple of valves for them, but for this part of the installation, I've put the 2 valves just on the hot and colds as they come through for the shower. These are the valves for the shower. It's going to be a Myra thermostatic shower, but I'm going to get an angled piece, stainless steel, like a triangle made up, mount it all on it, and it will get bonded into the back there, then probably another cabinet with a mirror on this side with shelving. But that's where that is for just now. As I said, there's the sink just behind us here. So I've just put 2 John Guest plugs into them at the moment for this test. And then we've got a nice little collection in this corner. And quite simply, that's what the back of an outside shower looks like. So we've pulled the fridge out the way just now. This is a 600 unit, and the fridge sits up to the side of those pipes, so that won't be any problem there. But for just now, we'll have to have it open, because that's probably one of the areas, if there is going to be leaks there and in the utility room. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to nip outside, I'm going to put the battery on the pump, and I'm going to start pressurising the system, filling the Truma hot water, and then hopefully what we can do is get a bucket in later on, pull some water through from the shower, get it all through, get the air out, and then from the outside shower I'll pull it out, give it a good run, get everything up to test, and then I'll leave the battery connected to it so that it's under a decent test for a decent time before it goes to the joiner. So what I'm just going to do now is I'm going to touch the terminals and the pump together onto the battery. In here I've got my little tester battery, so I've got my two little terminals here, because obviously nothing has been done with the first fix of wiring yet apart from under the seats. So I'm going to touch this to the battery, start the pump running thus, and that'll start pulling the water through from the tank. You see it start coming into the first, and we have a leak from somewhere. Where are you? It seems to be this coupling here. Look. Okay, we'll try. Oh no, it's still leaking. Plastic fittings. Okay. Obviously coming under pressure. How are we doing inside there? Is there anything? Right, we're just going to turn the water back on again and give it another go. Those little fittings in there that were attached to this thing, it's tightened up, and then, as we said about the water tank, it just tightened up and then just too much, and it slipped, and it'll never tighten again. It was just an absolute pain of things. So I got the WANDERTRUCK fittings to the pumps. I haven't got them on the likes of these because this guzzle thing just comes with different hose connections. They're not 10mm or 12mm, I don't think, not that I can see anyway, of getting them in there. So we've just had to make you go from the barbed ones to the WANDERTRUCK here like that, and the same at the top, and then this one here goes into one of the barbed ones for the expansion vessel. So it's the only bit of the build that's got the likes of that on it with the Jubilee clips. But it's meant to be like that anyway, you know, so it's just a different way of doing it. So we will, the water's on now, everything's filling back up just with gravity, so we'll come back out, put the battery back on there, but it's not coming to a great pressure, but I think that battery, well, that's a 24 volt pump for a start, it's only a 12 volt battery. So we will give it a go and try and fill it back up again and check everything. That's the water still on, the battery is still connected, the pump has come up to pressure, been sitting watching everything, so that's all, we've aired it through the shower, where the valves are for the shower, so that's us now, we're all sitting good, the plumbing system's all under test, it's going to remain under test The hot's full. You can see a lot of layer bits and bats in there where some of the water's come out when it's been airing through the Truma hot water system. So it's all full, it's all good. So that's another little job. We obviously haven't done the shower or the taps on the sink because they're just not there yet. We're not at that position.